All right, we now have 7.3 on the agenda is the Stonebridge Building Group and the Beachfront Development, and Mr. Mark Crow and his team are here today to make their presentation for the development at the Beachfront. Well, we've faced a lot of presentations at council, but that's the absolute most amazing entry I have ever seen in introduction. So Mr. Mark Crow and his team are here, and I'm just going to quickly look to our CAO for an introduction here, and we'll move along.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. So I'd like to introduce Mark Crow, the head of Stonebridge Building Group, who many in the public will remember that council awarded the RFP to Stonebridge. We're talking about the lands from 1st to 3rd Street on the beachfront. And I'm going to turn it over to Mark, who will walk the community and council through their proposal. And then I'm sure there'll be discussion following that.
Good morning, Mark, and welcome. And the floor is yours.
Good morning. Thank you for the opportunity to speak publicly today. We're excited about the opportunity to redevelop the beachfront from 1st Street over to 3rd and from Shore Lane to Moseley. We've chosen a name for the development and we're calling it the Breakers. And you'll learn a little bit more about that through our presentation. So we're gonna give you a brief overview of Stonebridge, our objective for the project, our timelines, the benefits we see for the community, and kind of the steps forward. This is our team here. We've got over 40 years of experience in the development and building business. We develop, build, and manage properties. When we build properties like the Stonebridge Town Center, we own it, we maintain it, and we build it for the future to own it as long-term investors in the communities. The beachfront here, we want to develop as a mixed-use development with residential and commercial, and a variety of units, including some rental purpose-built apartments. Just for those of you that are not aware of Stonebridge by the Bay, our development is on Main Street and Stonebridge Boulevard. We, in that development, have built 236 houses. We've, built from the Tim Hortons over to the KFC, Taco Bell, including the bank, and we actually sold the land in the middle, the hole in the donut, to Walmart to anchor that development. We believe in creating a community like a basket where all the different pieces interrelate and work off each other. So in our development, we've got 2.1 kilometers of walking trails with interpretive signage. We've got ponds, we've got parkettes, we've got a music pavilion, and we have what I'd like to think is a good mix of commercial tenancies that complement each other. We think that we can emulate this type of development on the beach, and think that there's an excellent opportunity to see the beach developed and make it a place that new residents can go, existing residents can go, and create a destination within our community. Here's just some examples of things we've done other places. For example, in Oakville, in one development, we created a community park. We did townhouses, various size single-family homes, townhouses, long-term care facility, a church, live-work units, and a gas station. And all of these elements kind of work together to complement and create community. Other places, we've, I think, different than other people that have approached this development. We're like 60% commercial developer and probably 40% residential developer. But we see there's good synergy to creating community by integrating both of them. So that's why with this development, we'd like to do live-work units. We'd like to do some traditional commercial units and a variety of housing built form types.
So the subject lands encompass approximately 2.09 hectares and are bound by 1st Street to the north, 3rd Street to the south, Beach Drive to the west, and Mosley Street to the east. To the east, the site directly abuts the beer store and LCBO lands, which are ultimately expected to be relocated either within the proposed development or to an alternate location. Currently, the site primarily functions as a parking lot, but has history of retail, open space, and other tourism-related uses. 2 older buildings remain on the property that are planned to be demolished. The site also includes Beck Square, a parkette located along Mosley Street, featuring a memorial monument honoring the contributions of past residents, a wall mural, commemorative plaques, and landscaped areas. The site is designated as the beach in the town's official plan, envisioned as the entertainment activity center of Wasaga Beach, and identified as a community improvement project area. This designation encourages a range of accommodation types supported by high-quality pedestrian connections linking parks, squares, open spaces, and cultural heritage resources. The site is also zoned beach mixed-use zone holding and open space for Beck Square. So our vision for the Breakers is to create an iconic, award-winning destination that honors the site's storied past while setting a new benchmark for waterfront living and working in Wasaga Beach. Rooted in the rich history of the original Breakers Hotel, built in 1931 by Wilson Lorraine McLean, the site was once a renowned destination featuring 2 annexes, 4 cottages, a large dining room, and a veranda offering breathtaking sunset views. Though the property underwent changes, renamed the Coach after its sale in the late 1950s, the Breakers remains a cherished part of Wasaga Beach's local history and identity. So key elements of our vision include embracing architecture that seamlessly blends historic charm with modern design, celebrating Wasaga Beach's heritage while embracing contemporary living, instilling a total beach connotation inspired by the timeless appeal of coastal landmarks like the Breakers Hotel in Florida. This destination will embody the ultimate beachside living experience where people can live, work, and thrive along the newly constructed breakwall, and collaborating with Sunray to complement their initiatives rather than competing. Together, we aim to create a cohesive, thriving waterfront area that benefits the community as a whole. As part of this, the Breakers will focus on providing high-quality, long-term housing with a preference for excluding short-term rentals like Airbnbs. So with the Breakers, Stonebridge is dedicated to delivering a development that respects the area's history, enhances its vibrancy, and provides lasting value to Wasaga Beach residents and visitors alike. So here you can see the conceptual site rendering. This high-quality mixed-use development features a diverse range of residential and commercial spaces. The plan includes 3-story plus terrace live-work townhouse units, stacked townhouse units, dual-fronting townhouse units, and a mixed-use apartment building with ground-floor commercial spaces and residential rental units above. Buildings 11, 12, and 13, located at the corner of Beach Drive and 1st Street, are the proposed live-work buildings. Additionally, 5 dual-fronting townhouse buildings of varying unit sizes will front Beach Drive, 3rd Street, and Mosley Street, and 7 stacked townhouse buildings are proposed centrally on site. The variety of unit types is designed to appeal to a broad range of demographics, catering to different lifestyle needs. In addition, we proposed a redesign of 2nd Street, limiting its extension to Beach Drive and creating a public parkette with pathways, a gazebo, benches, and landscaping for better traffic management and enhanced pedestrian circulation. Parking will be available along 2nd Street to support the mixed-use building, and pedestrian connections will be integrated throughout the site with opportunities for public art installations along the 2nd Street promenade. In terms of site statistics, the development will offer a total of 154 residential units, 14 commercial units within the live-work buildings, and 1,034 square meters of additional commercial space in the mixed-use apartment building, designed to accommodate AAA tenants. Each townhouse unit will have 2 parking spaces, one in the garage and one in the driveway. Each live-work unit will have 3 parking spaces, one designated for the commercial tenant and one for each residential unit. There are a total of 54 parking spaces available for the mixed-use building, which would be shared between the residential and commercial tenants to accommodate varying peak demands across uses, allowing parking spaces to be efficiently shared.
In regards to the architecture of the buildings and the site itself, on the screen is the live-work dwelling, which will be facing Front Street, facing First Street and Beach Boulevard, 2 units facing the boulevard. The ground floor would be a commercial space, approximately 600 square feet, that would serve as small community storefronts, cafes, uses that would promote the community in the beach area. The space above it would be a residential unit, approximately 1,700 square feet, 3-bedroom, and an additional secondary suite on the upper floor of about 1,100 square feet, both of which have access to rooftop terraces for the unit. The remaining buildings, dual fronting, would have frontage along Beach Boulevard, 3rd Street, Mosley Street, and on the internal roads where we have a very urban edge, where we want to bring the buildings very close to the front of the street, interact a lot with the community by providing front porches, balconies on all floors, to allow the residents of those homes to interact with the community around them, taking the driveways and garages off the main streets and putting them internally so they're out of view of the public realm. All of the units, whether they are the live-work, the dual fronting, the stacked townhomes, would have a single-car garage, additional space for garbage, recycling, bike storage, additional storage that will, take that sort of environment off the driveways and into the units themselves. So each single-car driveway and the garage, so 2 parking spaces per unit. So there'll be sufficient parking for all the residents that are living there and their visitors. The units will all have rooftop terraces with the surrounding community, the neighborhood here, the closeness to the shore. It would be a shame not to provide rooftop terraces so that the residents can enjoy the views that the spectacular views that are on this site, and also allow them to interact with the community around them. We really want the community to, and the people living within the community to feel part of the community and interact with the community to make this a real place to go. The architecture itself will be mainly all wood and siding and wood shingles, very reminiscent of coastal architecture, something you would see in Nantucket, the Hamptons, that type of look where it's a very monochromatic color tone. We're looking for shades of natural cedar shades, light tones of grays, of an aged cedar look. We're working with the supplier, Fraser Wood Siding, out of the east coast of Canada, where they produce and manufacture the siding products, to do a custom color palette for this subdivision, so we can make this a very cohesive looking community with the color tones that we're really trying to drive forward, which would be very natural tones. We want to set this apart from other communities that may be in Wasaga, where we used a lot of color on certain communities. We don't want to this mimic what is elsewhere. We want this to be a special community. So we want to make sure that whatever we put here is customized to suit this site. So for the live-work units and the dual fronting, which are popping up on the screen here, we still want to take cues from the history of the site. You'll see the gambrel roofs that are on the front facade, which is reminiscent of the Capstan Inn, the historical building from Wasaga, where it's still, we want to invoke that heritage that is here and not forget that, and make sure that we carry that forward, along with still very modern, sleek-looking townhomes. And this is a view of the dual fronting towns that would be facing onto Beach Drive, three-story dual fronting towns. Again, you'll see the balconies and the terraces that are on these units that we really want the community to interact with the community around it. You'll see the rooftop terraces that'll have the views to the bay, and those terraces will be in every model and have spectacular views to the surrounding area. And it's really a matter of trying to make this community as a whole and interact with the environment around it and making something really special.
As previously mentioned, the breakers will consist of 154 residential units and nearly 2,000 square meters of commercial space. We're planning for this development to be carried out in the course of 3 years, and we have divided those 3 years into 5 distinct phases. These 5 phases, which you can see on the screen, have been strategically planned based on our understanding of the town's construction schedule for the surrounding streets. Although we're still in the preliminary stages, we are open and flexible to adjusting these to ensure seamless integration with the surrounding area. And to do this, we would want it to be a smooth and cohesive construction process that complements the growth and development of the beachfront. These 5 phases have also been carefully designed to showcase the variety of housing types to attract a broader demographic for the future phases of the development. As you can see on the screen, Phase 1 has live-work towns as well as stacked towns, while as we move to Phase 2 over on 3rd Street, we introduce a new type of housing mix, which is the dual fronting. That way, individuals, as the project progresses, they can see all the different models and gain interest in it. So moving into Phase 1, we would like to commence in the spring of 2025. Phase 1 consists of 18 residential units and 5 commercial units. By breaking ground in the spring, we would be starting with the live-work town on 1st Street. We will start the construction of the building without even going to market or having a sale. By doing this, it not only demonstrates our confidence in the long-term vision, but it signals that the development of the beachfront is no longer a distant aspiration, but an imminent reality. This is going to serve as a catalyst, paving the way for the future phases of the project. Following our 2025 Phase 1, our next phase will begin in spring of 2026 with the 17 dual fronting towns on 3rd Street, which will be that 3rd housing type. Phase 3 will follow in the same year, but in the summer of 2026 with an additional 33 residential units and 9 commercial, along with the public parquet, which will be located on Beach Drive. Phase 4 will carry on in the end of 2026, close to the fall, or maybe in the spring of 2027. And that will be the largest phase with 60 residential units and the construction and completion of 2nd Street, which functions as a promenade. Phase 5, our final phase, would begin in the summer of 2027, and this would be 26 residential units, and we're exploring the possibility of this being a purpose-built rental units on top of the 1,000 square meters of commercial space. The community benefits. So through the construction of this, we're going to generate jobs in the community, but also we're going to generate jobs in the community for after the construction is complete by introducing more commercial spaces along the beachfront. This is going to enhance the economic activity and increase spending throughout the beachfront with additional stores that the many tourists that visit Wasaga Beach can shop at and spend money at while visiting, for example, the over 2 million visitors that come in the summer. In addition to this uplift, the town will also receive increased property taxes through property valuations going up and the additional units. By transforming the streetscape, it will create a vibrant and walkable environment for the residents and visitors, and this efficient land use that Julia talked about will increase the density, provide more housing options, and preserve the beautifully landscaped settings from the local community while incorporating the historic charm that Richard mentioned. To summarize, we would like to start construction right away on this. We view that the acquisition and development of the municipal lands as a natural progression in enhancing the community infrastructure. This intent to create a dynamic mixed-use development that supports the revitalization and economic sustainability of Wasaga Beach. For our next steps, we would ask Council to set up a working group to meet weekly with us so we can discuss the phases of construction and how we can work together to make this come true. Additionally, our second ask to Council would be to place a CCAN on the property for marketing purposes and storage of any construction materials that are needed for this. Perfect. Thank you for the time, and Mark, would you like to?
Thank you very much, Mark and team, and I'll look to the CAO for comments.
Yeah, so actually Mark whispered to me, he has asked me to disclose the proposed offer that he's offered the municipality and all of our taxpayers. We are quite pleased with what Mark has come to the table with. In advance, we went out and discussed with local brokerages to determine what fair market value was for beachfront lands. We have been told by multiple brokerages that $65 a foot represents fair market value. So Mr. Crow has graciously offered to represent his offer to reflect fair market value, which equates to $14 million. That is a very good profit for the municipality and a very good offer for the municipality. In addition to the $14 million, Mr. Crow has offered to cover the costs of demolition of buildings on the lands that he will be developing. I know there's been some chatter in the community that the residents would like developers to front the costs for development. So Mr. Crow has agreed to do that. In addition, as part of the works that will be undertaken beginning next summer, First Street will be torn up as part of the redevelopment work on Beach Drive. There's some underground infrastructure works that need to occur as part of that. So Mr. Crow has offered to contribute a third of the cost of the reinstatement of First Street. We will work collaboratively with Stonebridge on the design of First Street. We have an incredible opportunity with the front ending of our first mixed-use building on the beachfront on First Street to actually design this street so that it holds the building and actually delivers a higher quality of what a lot of us are used to experiencing down on the beachfront. So we want to design a cool street that's worthy of the building that Mr. Crow is going to be building adjacent to it, and that will really set the bar for the high quality that we'll be looking for the rest of the beachfront to develop and represent. I know a lot of folks have been wondering about the financial arrangement with Sunray. I assure the community those numbers will be disclosed shortly. I will tell you today that with this offer, as well as the numbers from Sunray, we are net positive for the community. All investments that the community have made to date will be covered, plus into the positive. So that is exceptionally good for the residents of Wasaga Beach. I would also note we are not touching Beach 2. We have not touched the site of the Dardanella. We have not touched Spruce Street, and we have not touched any of the municipal land holdings on Main Street. So just with this block, with Stonebridge, and the block with Sunray, we are already net positive. Once we get to remaining town-owned lands, the community should see a good, healthy return on the investment that was made back in 2014. So that is all excellent news, and we're quite pleased from a staff level at what is being proposed. We believe it reflects the integrity of the master plan and will contribute to a vibrant mixed-use destination on our waterfront. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Andrew. I'll now open the floor to questions from members of council. Councillor Belanger?
Yes, thank you, through the mayor. And for the benefit of the public, we're not sure exactly what was disclosed. We'd have to go back and look at previous proposals with previous council, but I've sat on council for 9 years, and most of the people present and residents would know that I very strongly opposed the proposals that were being presented in the last council. Further to what our CAO just said, to refresh your memories, I believe it was roughly 6-story buildings and 2,000 residential units across Beachfront. So the area we're talking about now that is going to be developed by Stonebridge would have seen upwards to around 600 units versus the 154 that are being presented, and none of which are 6-story. So when you see their plan, there's a lot of open space versus buildings. There's great visibility to the bay. The design creates some natural wind block, so we're not creating wind tunnels through that development. There's just a lot of positive. And as far as the price go, I don't know if we ever disclosed the last proposal, but I will tell you that this is a proposal that I can support, because it does provide a good, healthy return on the investment that our community made when we bought the lands at the beachfront. That was not the case in previous proposals. So I'm very excited, and I see there are some members present that live in the Stonebridge community. I personally do not, but I've always been impressed as I drive through when you look at the age of some of the buildings and how new they still look, and it's just a testament to the quality of build and the materials that are used by Stonebridge in their development. So I'm very excited to support this proposal. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor DeLeo.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Mayor. Again, Mark, thank you for your presentation. All of you, thank you. And thank you for stepping up after the deal with FAM fell through. I love the concept of the coastal and the historical look that you're proposing. I think it's absolutely stunning. And thank you for being fair with your offer for the fees. I appreciate you doing that. Just so that the public is aware, could you just tell the public about the lands on the where the beer store is and the liquor store? Will you be taking care of that portion of it?
We have a beer store, liquor store in other locations. We're familiar with the people that operate those businesses, and we look to work with them to relocate them, and so that the development is cohesive and not fragmented with something like that. I think the buildings themselves are not of the current standard that they would be building if they were doing something new. So we're definitely interested in working with them.
That's great, thank you. And I look forward to maybe having an Italian cafe bakery on the beach. I can smell that espresso. I can just smell it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Eagle.
Thank you, and through your worship, as I said earlier, fabulous presentation. Thank you for all of this information, the visuals. And I would really like to speak for the public's benefit on the visuals. It was over 20 years ago when we moved here, and I saw the pretty pictures of Stonebridge, and I wasn't really sure it could happen. And went in that little sales trailer and asked the sales lady, and she said, it absolutely will. If this man says he's going to do something, he will do it. And so what you see is what you get. And so I'd really like to reassure the public on that, that we can have great faith that this will go ahead. So thank you for that, team. I only really have one question, but I think it's, I saw in the photos, and I think you might be doing it at Kingfisher Cove, is it? Is that the name of the other development? Thanks. It's a good name. Okay. Do I see permeable pavement in your plans? Mr. CAO is smiling because it is.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Crow. I think we have a business in town, a veterinary that uses it. It has been on my radar for a long time, and it's exciting, really exciting on this. All the environmentalists, perk up your ears. It's being done, and a template's being set. So thanks a million for that. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Mark, any team members, if you ever care to respond to any of these comments or questions, just let me know. All right, the next is Councillor Timms.
Thank you, Your Worship, and through you, I do want to say that I really support this project. I'm excited about seeing the beachfront revitalize, not just as a summer destination, but absolutely for season. If we get the right mix of commercial and residential to support that, it's going to be really thriving all seasons, all year round. I also mentioned before in an earlier opportunity that I see a lot of new tourists coming, not just to sit on the beach all day, but to be able to sit at the waterfront and enjoy a meal and come with families, because a lot of people love waterfronts, but they're not necessarily beachgoers. I wish the live-work units were just a little bit bigger, but I can see opportunity for people to create all kinds of interesting beach-type service as well as retail, so that's pretty exciting. And I do really appreciate that you haven't asked for a reduction in development charges. I think that's a very considerate gesture to us, because this development is going to be one of the biggest and most important things that we ever do, and we need to make sure it's well funded. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Deputy Mayor Snell.
Thank you, Your Worship. Through you, I was going to say the same thing. It's so refreshing from this side of the table to have a developer come forward and not looking to squeeze every ounce of square footage out of a space based on profit, but instead looking at the project through the lens of developing a healthy, well-balanced community. So thank you very much for having that perspective. And to Councillor Tim's point, not asking for any reduction in DCs or deferred taxation. You're coming fully equipped to the table with a complete ask and offer, most importantly. It was mentioned before in regards to the live works, excuse me, that the purpose or hope is that obviously they would be owner occupied in terms of the operator. I would just ask to consider if it turns out that it's not owner occupied, that you put in your contract that it must be under property management or professional management services, just to make sure that consistent quality forward-facing product always looks the same, just because we see what's happened when that doesn't happen, right, down at the beachfront now. But thank you so much for bringing this project forward. I'm super, super excited, very much supportive.
Thank you. Mark?
I just wanted to comment that we agree with you wholeheartedly that you need to make things look open, viable, and I agree with all your comments about the commercial and making sure that they're properly maintained and operated. And we've learned from other live work that you do have to set some parameters around that, so that you end up with 100% good quality occupants in those spaces.
All right, thank you. Any other questions or comments? Councillor Belanger?
Yeah, thank you, through the mayor. Mark, you mentioned public art as part of the development. Is that something. I'm familiar with some of the public art that you did in Orangeville. And would that be something that would be incorporated into your development, or something where you're looking for the municipality support, or?
Definitely. I think, good development has all those components. It's got good landscaping, it's got culture, it's got, art, and all those kinds of things are what make healthy development.
All right, other questions or comments? All right, seeing none, Mark, will there be an opportunity if people wish, because these are three-story in many cases, will there be an opportunity for people if they want or require a lift to be able to have that in as an option?
In Stonebridge on Nautical Lane, we built houses in there and offered elevators, and ended up putting elevators. There was 12 units there. We ended up putting elevators in 3 of them. And each unit was also built so that if somebody down the road wanted to add an elevator, they could.
Excellent, thank you very much. And the sea can that you mentioned, how long is that sea can? Is it a 20-foot or a 40-foot?
It's a 40-foot.
All right, thank you. I think it's important to remind the public that when we purchased these lands back in 2015, at no point in time were they purchased in order to speculate or make a profit on behalf of the municipality. It's important that the public understand this. These lands were purchased solely so as that the municipality could gain control of our future destiny. And had that been at a profit or a loss, providing the development that was presented to the town made sense and was good for our community, our residents first, and then, of course, the people who visit our community every year, then, of course, council would consider that. And as the mayor from 14 to 18, and again now, I have been very clear on that from the very first day. The fact now that we have a developer who has a proven track record in our community, not only residentially, but in a huge way commercially, and has been able to sustain and maintain a major commercial complex, the biggest complex in our community, in such a professional way and standard, I think speaks volumes. Mark, I want to say to you and your team, both past and present, that your generosity and your truthfulness and honesty to this community from the very first day is unparalleled. And kudos to you and your team for ensuring that that is the way you have done business in this community from day one. Your generosity to this community in monetary donations for fireworks displays, for music events, anytime the municipality or folks approach you, you're always there at the ready to do what you can to help out and donate. We have a lot of great businesses in this community that do the same, but you are just slightly one step above the rest in what you have done. I don't know what that value is, but it's hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars that you have done for this community outside of being just a developer. And I commend you for that. And to then have you come forward and to make an offer and a presentation to this magnitude, fully understanding the value of the land, the value to this community, and to do the research that you've obviously done to go back and understand that, you know, what most people would only refer to as the Captain's Inn or the Windjammer, to go back so far as to point out that initially it was the Breakers, tells me that your care, your compassion for this community is paramount. And I thank you for that as well. I could not be more thrilled as the mayor, being involved in this whole transaction from day one. From the very first meeting to now, could not be more happy and more thrilled with what we have on the table today for our residents. As I said, this was never purchased as land speculation to make money. It was purchased to gain control and move this community forward. And I am confident sitting here today that having you as a partner, having Sunray at the table as a partner, that this community is going to move forward and we are going to accomplish great things. An amazing community to live, work, learn, and play, and I couldn't be more happy. So thank you, Mark, to you and your team for being here today, and we look forward to working with you to move this along as quickly as we can, well into the future.
Thank you. We're very, very excited about the opportunity. We've, always wanted to see that beachfront redeveloped, and it's funny how the opportunity has kind of come full circle, and here we are talking about it today, and I think it's an amazing opportunity. Our group went down there this morning. We met at 9 o'clock and walked around, and just felt really good about the opportunity and about how I think we can have a great fit for the community.
Absolutely. Any questions or comments from members of staff? All right, seeing none, we do have a motion that the presentation by Stonebridge Building Group pertaining to the beachfront development be received as information. Could I have a mover and a seconder for this, please? Deputy Mayor Snell and Councillor Timms, all in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much, team.
Thank you.